Ladies and gentlemen, big hand for Emma Mayer, editor of Inside Housing, president of IBP.
Thank you very much indeed. Can we say thank you once again to Hannah Vickers, Chief Exec of the ACE, for her insights and for that call to arms. Thank you. It's a very great pleasure to be here and to be here for the first time as president. I'm sure that, like me, you're all really proud to be part of the built environment media. We've got very many exceptional brands and publications in our market, represented in this room here tonight. Some are long established, some are exciting launches, all, I think, are highly respected. And that's because the markets that we write about, construction, architecture, engineering, housing and property, are economically and politically important, all the more so against the backdrop of that Brexit uncertainty. I think it's also, though, because of the quality of the journalists in the field. We work with, and sometimes against, peers at the top of their game who routinely break stories of national significance. This year it's particularly welcome to see an increasing number of entries from journalists writing for the national media, and I'd like to extend a really warm welcome to those who are here with us for the first time. It's this quality that the IBP Journalism Awards are all about. The awards hold a special place in the calendar, I think, for all of us in the room. Unlike other awards, the IBPs see us competing against other publications serving the same industry. Unlike other awards, the quality judges know and understand the markets that you write about and the significance of the stories that you are entering. They are experienced journalists and industry stalwarts. Unlike other awards, the only thing that matters to the IBP Awards judges is the quality of your journalism, not the commercial performance of your wider brand or the investment from your publisher. And that's why featuring on the IBP shortlist and winning an IBP award means so much. And of course, unlike many other awards, the IBPs and sponsors kindly offer prizes as well as those very fetching certificates for which we're all very grateful indeed. Beyond the awards, IBP offers other opportunities for members to share experiences, to network and to further their careers. And each of you, of course, who have entered these awards are a member. We're really fortunate to have such a resource, I think, in our market, in our industry, and that's why I was really delighted to be able to support IBP further by taking on the President's role. As well as the Journalism Awards, IBP also runs the Communications Awards, which brings comms professionals face-to-face with expert judges chaired by sector editors. And I was among them, so I can confirm that the judging process is very rigorous. Among IBP's other activities, we're particularly proud of the IBP Futures Group, which was established specifically for ambitious journalists and comms professionals who want to use the opportunity to meet and hear from experts on how to best position themselves in the rapidly changing media environment. IBP enters its 50th year in 2019. Just let that sink in for a moment. 50 is a real achievement, and no 50th birthday would be complete without a bit of an ease up. So we're going to be making plans very shortly for a celebration in the coming months. Watch this space and watch out for those emails from Gerald for some more information about just how we're going to celebrate and how you can get involved. As IBP moves into its golden year, we're also looking at how to improve the member offer even more. Our plans include introducing practical workshops and training opportunities available free of charge to members, and we'd really love to hear your views, and we'll be canvassing your opinions shortly, so watch out for a survey in your inbox. But for the time being, that's enough about the future. You are all here to celebrate your achievements now. So on behalf of IBP, I'd like to thank you all for entering. On behalf of our finalists, I would like to thank our judges for generously giving their time and expertise. Thank you to Gerald for his focus, for his determination, and when we're all missing our entry deadlines, for his patience. We all appreciate it a great deal. And of course, a huge, huge thank you to our sponsors whose kind support makes this event possible, and thank you all for your hospitality this evening. I think without further ado, it's time to move on to the main event and find out just who our 2018 winners are going to be. So my next task is to introduce our host for the event, the institution, I think I could say, that is Peter Murray. Awards veterans will know that Peter has presented the awards for no fewer than 14 years, and IBP is enormously grateful for the support and encouragement that he's given to us over the years. His knowledge and connection with our sector is unrivaled. He's a respected author and advisor. He's edited Reba Journal and Building Design. He's had a hand in founding the Festival of Architecture. He's on the Mayor's Design Advisory Group, and he's both a former IBP chair and president. I don't know about you, but I'm feeling quite underqualified right now. These days, he's chair of New London Architecture. Please, can you give him a really warm welcome to your host for the rest of the evening, Peter Murray.
Anyway, it was very interesting hearing both the previous speakers and about the importance of journalism, and Hannah talked about the changing nature of the work that magazines do. I got back this morning from the World Architecture Festival in Amsterdam, which is organised by Architects Journal and Architectural Review, and that's a sort of trade fair mixed with an awards programme. Same time, building and building design. We're organising Building and Building Design Live, a sort of conference. So these are all sorts of things that when I was in journalism were called below the line. You know, they were sort of things that you might get a bit of money out of every now and then if you were lucky. But now they are a key part of the P&L of any successful publishing organisation. So I think it's very interesting. These are things that clearly publishers need to do. Because of all the changing nature of print and digital media. But I was very relieved, actually, when I got back home and I got onto my computer and there was a newsletter from Building Magazine. I went through the headlines and I clicked on an article by Joey Gardner, which was unravelling the mysteries of the GLA's housing statistics and setting out just how many houses Sadiq Khan needs to build, how many he is building, and how many he is likely to build. Each was a very different figure. But, I mean, that was a piece which was just so clear, comprehensible, a really fine piece of writing, which explained to me something I thought I knew quite a lot about already. And I thought that's just the sort of writing that we celebrate here tonight, and the sort of thing that we are only too happy to give prizes for, because as Hannah says, I mean, this is just so important for the wider industry to hold it to account, to inform it, to inspire it, and to celebrate that tonight. So now I'm going to start calling out the winners, but before that, Gerald told me I have to tell you there is a slight change, the first change in 14 years on the format, that instead of me reading out the judges' responses, there is now a specially written citation for each journalist, and I'll read that out when I get to them. But as usual, the winner obviously has to come up. Runners up, please don't come up. But there will be a photograph, so winners don't run away too quickly because we need to take your photograph first. So anyway, we're going to start with A, and that's Architecture Writer of the Year. That's sponsored by BDP. And there were some very strong submissions in this category with powerful writing, probing interviews and fine descriptions shot through with passion for their subject. Journalists in this field help architects develop a critical awareness of their projects, and it was refreshing to see this robustness in some of the work the judges reviewed. And the nominations are Elizabeth Hopkirk of Building Design, Ike E.J. of Building Design, Manon Mollard of the Architectural Review, Isabel Priest, RABA Journal, and Rob Wilson of the Architects Journal. And the citation reads, "It's necessary for the architectural profession to be called to account in the same way that the theatre is held to account by its critics. This journalist does this with energy, enthusiasm and intellect. The copy is constructively critical, authoritative and courageous, and it is in the best journalistic tradition." So, Hannah, if you would open the envelope, please.
And the winner is Ike EJ from Building Design.
Darling, hold my hand.
So if Chris Harding, chairman of IBP, would come up to present the cheque, please. Next category is Construction Infrastructure Journalist of the Year, kindly sponsored by Wilmot Dixon. The entries here were of a consistently high standard. The judges were impressed by the in-depth research and attention to detail clearly evident across the wide range of topics covered. And the nominations here are Lucy Alderson, Construction News, Binyamin Ali, Construction News, and Thomas Lane of Building Design. And the citation reads, a diverse and topical range of subjects covered by the winner's 3 articles. The judges agreed that the well-researched piece on the Elizabeth Tower was outstanding. It offered the reader a vantage point from which to view this unique and complex refurbishment project. The complimentary, in-depth interviews added insight to a well-crafted story written with genuine enthusiasm for the subject. The piece on LG's new research facility in South Korea introduced an international flavour. Judges were impressed by the level of detail, agreeing that it was an interesting and informative read. Can you please open the envelope? Tell us who won.
The winner is Thomas Lane from Building Design.
And if Anthony Dillon, Managing Director of Wilmot Dixon North, can present the cheque, please. Now we move on to News Reporter of the Year, sponsored by 4 Communications. There was a large number of entries in this category with strong competition from a range of journalists. Articles were well sourced and written. Again, the Grenfell Tower disaster and its consequences featured in submissions, demonstrating journalists playing an important role in monitoring how government and industry are responding. And I think clap at the end of this, because it's such a long list. Don't clap between every single one. So I'm going to read them out in order. Nominations are Peter Apps of Inside Housing, Nathaniel Barker, Inside Housing, Luke Barrett, Inside Housing, India Block, Design, Tim Clark, writing for Construction News and Draper's Magazine, Zach Garner-Perkis, Construction News, Will Hurst, Architects Journal, Charles Shooton, Place Northwest, Catherine Smale, New Civil Engineer, and Richard Waite of the Architects Journal. And the citation reads that this journalist used investigation to reveal a shocking detail behind one of the major stories for the sector. They also held the government to account for its response to the same story while delivering relevant, knowledgeable news for the reader. Hannah, can you tell us who won?
And the winner is Peter Apps from Inside Housing.
And if Jeff Robgent, who's the Associate Director of 4 Communications, come up and present the cheque. Now, Feature Writer of the Year, sponsored by ACOM. The large number of entries highlights the very competitive nature of this category. The judges were particularly impressed by the depth of research and analysis clearly evident in these well-structured, informative and hard-hitting articles, with all entries being of a consistently high standard. Again, this is a long list, so clap at the end, please. Lucy Alderson of Construction News, Peter Apps, Inside Housing, Nathaniel Barker, Inside Housing, Luke Barrett, Inside Housing, Alexandra Goss, The Sunday Times, Thomas Lane, Building Design, Martina Lees, The Sunday Times, and Jess McCabe of Inside Housing. You may now clap. And the citation reads, 3 topical articles, each delivering the passion behind the stories. The judges found the well-researched and insightful piece on housing's Me Too moment very compelling. The piece on discrimination in a social housing workplace provided an opportunity for many to speak directly about their experiences. The judges agreed this was powerful, emotional journalism at its best. Hannah, who's the winner?
And the winner is Jess McCabe, Inside Housing.
So, yes, Jess is on maternity leave, so Emma's going to pick it up, and James Banks, Head of External Relations, EMEA ACOM, is going to present the check.
Like the legend of the Phoenix.
Business Financial Journalist of the Year, sponsored by Colliers International. And it's pleasing for the judges to see entries from the national press as well as our sector's B2B magazines. Nationals may have resources, but the trade press can devote more time to a narrow range of stories. Hopefully, both sides of the divide can teach something to the other, and the results will be an increase in their already high standards for both. Shorter list of nominations this time, so you can clap in between if you feel like it. So, Luke Barrett, Inside Housing. Judith Evans, Financial Times. Luke Cross, Social Housing. And Steve Menery, writing for House Builder and Highways magazine. And the winner in this category showed that they can break news and detect new trends and leave the computer server in the office and trudge the streets in search of a story. The entries included a New York property deal and the plight of tenants in South London's railway arches. But the story that most impressed the judges involved the bulk sale of flats to London developers, the detailed sale of whole stocks of homes to landlords, and the terms available identified a trend in London property market which is suffering from overdevelopment. So, Hannah.
And the winner is Judith Evans from the Financial Times.
So with Susie Stimpson, who is acting head of PR and communications, Colliers International, will present the check.
Tonight, all on her own, no one will come. She's got to save him. Daily struggle.
So next is Housing and Residential Journalist of the Year, sponsored by Barrett Developments. The quality of the entries was high. However, the judges commented that more journalists, particularly on the nationals and broader sector magazines, should be encouraged to challenge the specialist titles. So the nominations are Peter Apps, Inside Housing; Nathaniel Barker, Inside Housing; Hugh Graham, The Sunday Times; and Martin Hilditch, Inside Housing. The winner scored highly on content, style and impact with 3 articles on very different topics. The journalist exposed the policy failings that the government would prefer to forget, while digging deep to reveal an explosion in costs of homelessness for local authorities.
And the winner is Nathaniel Barker, Inside Housing.
And Derek Harris, Head of Public Relations, Barrett Developments, will present the check. Multimedia Journalist of the Year, sponsored by IBP. The judges were impressed by the imagination that the best entries showed and by the new initiatives. It is clear that good journalists now always question the best channels to use before embarking on a piece of work. Their flexibility and enterprise are to be commended. This is a short list, so do clap in between. Simon Aldous, The Architect's Journal. Peter Haps, Sophie Barnes, Nathaniel Barker and Luke Barrett, Inside Housing. Marcus Fares, Dezeen. And Amy Frierson, Dezeen. And there is a highly commended award in this category. The judges felt that the joint entry from Apps, Barnes, Barker and Barrett from Inside Housing provided podcasts that were a serious examination of important topics for an engaged audience. But the main citation reads, the winning entry was overall highly professional, and the judges were blown away by the film, which was thought-provoking and challenging for architects, encouraging them to think about how architecture may work in a world of drones.
And the winner is Marcus Fares from Dezeen.
And Ruth Slavid, Vice President IBP, will present the cheque. Next is New Journalist of the Year, sponsored by the Built Environment Trust. The standard of journalism in this category was exceptionally high. The work of the judges, the work the judges saw displayed all the elements of classic shoe leather journalism, where sources were tracked down, data unpicked, survey responses trawled through, and all put together at speed and with style, intelligence, and commitment to the story. It was a very hard choice to make. And IBP is delighted to be associated with the initiative created by the sponsor, the Built Environment Trust, to award a bursary to the winner and to the two highest marked finalists in this category. Each nominee will be commissioned to produce an article that explores and encourages innovation in the built environment and reflects the role of the Trust to provide support for educational, research and cultural activities. And the nominations are Luke Barrett, Inside Housing, Eleanor Beaumont, The Architectural Review, Ella Jessel, The Architect's Journal, Jordan Marshall, Building, and David Price, Construction News. And the citation reads, this journalist has huge potential. The submission included an excellent hard-hitting interview and a feature where different voices were woven together to paint a sensitive and revealing picture of how professionals in the field feel about their role in the Grenfell disaster and the lessons that needed to be learnt. The judges were impressed by this journalist's grasp of the architecture after so little time writing about the subject, a flying start to their career. So, Hannah, if you could tell us who has won.
And the winner is Ella Jessel, The Architect's Journal.
So Ella is actually at the World Architecture Festival, so Emily Booth is going to collect the award, and the cheque will be presented by Jenny Watt. If Luke Barrett and Jordan Marshall were able to come up to the platform, they have their photograph taken with their sponsors. Scoop of the Year, sponsored by FTI Consulting. The shortlisted scoops were highly investigative, building on tip-offs from sources into robust, revelatory stories that shaped the news agenda and made real political impact. Entries in a wider shortlist also demonstrated strong investigative skills and a broad mix of subjects. And the nominees are Peter Apps, Inside Housing, Peter Apps and Kate de Selincourt, Inside Housing, Luke Barrett and Sophie Barnes, Inside Housing, Zach Garner-Perkis from Construction News, Will Hurst, Architects Journal, and Dave Rogers of Building. The citation reads, "A classical scoop revealed the details of the Hackett review on the Grenfell tragedy a week prior to it being published, and that made such an impact with the revelation that the review would not ban combustible cladding. A U-turn was made on the day it was published with a further consultation promised. A genuine new angle on the unending Grenfell story, its reporting influenced the wider news agenda, building on its success at the IBP Journalism Awards last year. The decision to revamp the reporting patches to focus specialisms on the team has paid off." Sorry, Gerald, I couldn't quite read what that meant. But anyway, it was obviously jolly good anyway. And
And the winner is Luke Barrett and Sophie Barnes from Inside Housing.
And now we have Magazine of the Year Weekly, and this is sponsored by Marley. The three magazines in this category all reach parts of their respective industries that others did not, spearheaded by strong news investigations and backed up by precise technical know-how. And the nominations are Building, Construction News, and Inside Housing. And the citation reads, "The coverage of the collapse of Carillion, in the judge's view, the biggest construction industry story of the century, was impressively comprehensive. A complete job covering every angle, its post-Carillion issue was packed with news, features and comment, but also demonstrated impressive reader engagement, highlighting the best online responses to the volleys of breaking news stories the admittedly small editorial team had also published online. Nevertheless, the title also commissioned hard-hitting research into difficult subjects for the construction industry, such as gender balance and mental health. The diverse range of commentators complemented its hard-hitting news coverage." Hannah, who's won?
And the winner is Construction News.
Got the eye of the tiger, dancing through the fire.
And Sarah Harding, Marketing Director of Marley, will present the cheque. And now we have Magazine of the Year Non-Weekly, sponsored by Sidel Architects. The non-weeklies fulfill a vital role in the building and property press, providing the depth of thought that can be lost in reporting instant news. The sector is lucky to have such a range of publications. All have their strengths, but the best enlighten and inform readers about trends around the world and present that information in a clear and well-illustrated manner. And the nominations are New Civil Engineer, New London Quarterly, Planning in London, Social Housing, the Architects Journal, and the Architectural Review. Citation. Gerald Scripp says the whining magazine, but I think it means winning. And so the winning magazine is a weighty magazine full of short articles, both of them virtues. It means each edition offers a very wide range of features, but does not overwrite them. If you're not interested in one feature, turn the page, there's another one. And brevity forces the writers to get to the point and stick to it. The magazine combines that range with extremely good design, which itself makes the articles easy to read. So, Hannah, please tell us who's won.
And the winner is New London Quarterly.
And Ron Siddell, founder of Siddell Architects, will present the cheque. And next is Digital Service of the Year, sponsored by IBP. There was a wide variety of shortlisted entries encompassing digital-only offerings, add-ons to existing brands, and traditional brands that are now anything but traditional in the way that they marry print and digital offerings, sometimes as a seamless whole and as others as complementary approaches. These are challenging times for publishing, so it's refreshing to see so many brands embracing these challenges. And the nominations are Construction News, Dezeen, Place Northwest, Social Housing, the Architects Journal, and the B1M. And the citation reads, the site has a real agenda and is brilliant at tapping into the zeitgeist and finding the relevant angle. In a nutshell, it's great journalism. And Hannah, would you please open the envelope?
And the winner is Dezeen.
And Gerald Bowie, CEO IBP, will present the certificate to the winner. And now our final award is the Best of the Best IBP Journalist of the Year, sponsored by ACOM. And citation says, as always, the best of the best was very good, but perhaps this was an exceptionally high level of entries, even by historic standards. The judges had to compare a wide variety of articles appearing in a broad range of media, and the final decision was close but clear. The property industry and the wider built environment is well served by journalism like this. The Journalist of the Year tackled his chosen subject and fruitfully used freedom of information requests backed up by statistical analysis to identify the worst example of council spending on temporary accommodation. It was a revealing report that hopefully was read in Whitehall. Hannah, can you tell us who Journalist of the Year is?
And the winner is Nathaniel Barker, Inside Housing.
And Harriet Hindmarsh, Vice President, Enterprise Marketing and Communications, ACOM, will present the cheque.
See, our word is slowly dying. I'm not wasting no more time. Don't think I could believe you. Yeah, our hands will get more wrinkled and our hair will be gray. Don't think I could forgive you. And see, the children are starving and seas will
Thank you, Art. Well, that brings us to the end of the award, and I think it's fascinating to see how important housing is in these awards, and it shows how the journalism of the day really reflects some of those key issues, and housing is certainly right at the top of the agenda and should be the top of the agenda of the government, and hopefully the sorts of stories that we've been rewarding tonight will be hopefully influencing government to really take the issues that they write about seriously. So congratulations to all the winners, and thank you very much indeed for listening.
Ladies and gentlemen, I haven't got a script, so there'll be no literals. Thank you, Peter, very much indeed. Can I book you in for next year? It's our 50th next year. It's quite an astounding thing to be part of an organisation that's that old. It's that old because of the people in the room and your predecessors, and hopefully the people that are going to come after us. If you want IBP to be able to acknowledge, reward and encourage the sort of journalism that our sector produces year on year, then we've got to make sure that IBP is here next year. So could I invite you to go to the bar, have a drink and contemplate that possibility. Good night.